Philippines, hello Region 1, aloha San Carlinian learners, airing live from the Mango Bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning in to CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key, learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner.
Welcome to CCN. I am Teacher Toby, and welcome once again to Philosophy Made Easy by Teacher Toby. What we will be talking about for today is all about the human person and death. Today, we will be talking about how the human person is oriented towards his impending death. And at the end of the lesson, you are expected to reflect on the meaning of your life. How are we going to do this? First, you are going to identify the nature of human existence by revisiting key concepts on death across curriculum areas. And then we are going to discuss man's search for the meaning of his life in relation to the concept of death by various philosophers. And in the end, we are going to reflect philosophically on the meaning of one's life in a creative manner through differentiated activity. So are you ready? So let's begin. What is your initial reaction when you read the title of the part or this part of the module, which is entitled Human Person and Death? Does it bring chills on your spine? Does it bring forth negative vibes? I want you to write down your comments below. Another question is death really a terrifying phenomenon? Write your comments. I'll be waiting for it. Another question, is death, or if death is really a dreadful thing, what makes it fearsome? If we are able to answer these questions, it brings life as to what death really is. But basing on these questions, it seems as though that death is something so negative. But is it always so? On the other hand, death as part of human reality may have meaningful messages. And today, we will try to uncover the mystery of death by rationalizing it philosophically so that we get to understand it better, accept it as part of human nature, and treat it as a condition that allows us to create a meaningful existence. Death is not that negative after all. But what is death? Let us try to go back to the question that I have posted a while ago. What is your initial reaction when you read the title of this part of the module, which is the human person and death? Let's hear from some statements coming from people that I have interviewed last time. Now let's see and watch my vlog.
Hi, I am at the heart of San Carlos City, which is the St. Dominic Parish Church. Here, I'm going to ask random individuals about their concept about death. So, are you ready? Come on, let's listen to what they have to say. Ate, ano pong masasabi ninyo pag naririnig nyo ang salitang kamatayan?
Para po sa akin is yung kamatayan, pag naririnig ko yung kamatayan is pumapasok sa akin yung takot. Siyempre nandun na yung takot, pero nandun na rin yung masasabi mo na blessed ka kasi narating mo yung age na yon na hindi porket sinabing kamatayan is yung end of your life na, kasi may isa pa pong life na patutunguhan ka, which is dun sa heaven.
Okay. Thank you. Kuya, ano ni bagay no nariringal yo so salitan patoy? Makapatakot. Salamat kuya. Ache, ito pag-upa. Ante, ni bagay no nariringal yo salita ya patoy.
Makapatakot ya dengerin.
Makapatakot ya dengerin. Salamat ache ha. Kuya, ano ni bagay no nariringal yo salita ya patoy? Alam mo makadiyos sumampatay. Okay, salamat. Kuya, ano pong masasabi ninyo pag naririnig ninyo ang salitang kamatayan?
Kamatayan, sir. Para sa akin po, ang salitang kamatayan is kalayaan para sa akin, sir.
Kalayaan. Okay, salamat kuya. Thank you. Sir, tiputan taki pa. No naringal yung salita yakap patay or kamatayan, anto'y uunad isip yo?
Ay, sir, mapatakot.
Makapatakot. Okay. Salamat, sir, ha? Okay. Ate, magkano to?
25, sir.
Okay. Hindi, gusto ko lang po kayong tanungin. Ano pong masasabi nyo pag narinig nyo yung word na kamatayan?
Sir, para po sa akin ang kamatayan is, siyempre, lahat po tayo dadaanin po natin yun. Yun nga lang, hindi lang po natin alam kung kailan po tayo dadaan doon.
Okay. Okay, thank you po ate. Salamat. Next time, pwedeng utangin? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Based on what you have watched, we can infer that many have negative understanding about death. But there are a handful of people who views it otherwise. It brings us to the question, is the negative view on death a product of ignorance? Let us try to answer that as we go through this topic. Let's move on to the next question that I have posted. Is death really a terrifying phenomenon? The answer? No. But why? First and foremost, we have to understand that when we say phenomenon, it is something that we can experience. But then, if we look at death philosophically, death is not something that we can experience and therefore not a phenomenon. Why? Because it is the end of all experiences. We cannot experience death. We can only experience life. but death is the cessation or the end of the phenomenon called life. It is not that frightening at all. And the last question is, if death is a dreadful thing, what makes it fearsome? Now let us see what you have commented so far. I ask you to comment all of your answers to these questions. Let's see. Oh, this is a good stuff from Andre. He said that death is something that he is afraid of because death is associated with pain. It is quite natural because if you can still remember when we were still kids, you have a pet perhaps, and when your pet dies, you can see that it is in a lot of pain. And of course, we can associate then that if one dies, he is experiencing a lot of pain. But pain is not only experienced by that person who is dying, but it is also experienced by the people that we love. And so, death is something that people fear of because we associate it with pain. Well, another comment here, this time coming from Brenda. And what is her comment? Oh, we are afraid of death because we do not know when we are going to die. And that gives us the chills because we are not sure when we are going to die. And of course, we are not prepared for it. Most of the time, we live our life as if, without being aware that we all are under this so-called impending death. We are all going to die. But then, most of us are not prepared for it. And in the end, philosophy would tell us that death, even if philosophy deals with the search for truth about everything, the phenomenon, it's not a phenomenon by the way, but the reality of death remains to be a mystery. And of course, it is something that you don't fully understand. And if you don't fully understand something, that is the beginning of fear. So what have we learned so far? Death is inevitable. It would always come. There is uncertainty as to when it will come. And we can also have positive thoughts about death. And eventually, we fear death because we don't fully understand it. And that leads us to our first objective. If you can still remember, our first objective is to identify the nature of human existence by revisiting key concepts on death across curriculum areas. And thus, before knowing what philosophy tells us about death, let us have a quick review of what we have learned so far from other subjects and let us relate them to death. After which, let us delve into how these lessons about death shape our understanding on the meaning of death. So, let us begin then. Let us try to understand what death is according to the words of, or should we say, the concepts coming from science, of course, with the help of your science teacher, Earth and Life Science teacher, Teacher Chiki Quevedo. But before that, I would like to ask you some questions as a form of review. The question here is, what is the scientific study of the properties and behavior of matter? Write your answers on the comment section. I'm giving you 5 seconds. Answer? Very good. Chemistry. Now, let's listen to what Ma'am Chiki has to say.
Hello, Ma'am Chiki. I know that you're an expert in chemistry. Would you like to tell me what happens when a person dies according to chemistry?
The living matter in nature primarily is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Upon the death of any living organism, the organic compounds present in any organism start reacting with oxygen. This reaction is a prolonged process that we commonly refer to as decay or decomposition, which is another form of redox reactions.
Oh, would you like to tell me more about redox reaction?
Redox reactions or reduction oxidation reactions occur when there is a movement of electrons between atoms. Reduction happens when there is a gain of electrons, and oxidation happens when there is a loss of electrons.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Chiki. That is so informative. Thank you once again. Learn from that particular, should we say, discussion that you had back then with Ma'am Chiki. We have learned that death is impending. It is going to come to all creatures, to all organic matter, because, of course, according to chemistry, by the process of oxidation reduction, we would all die and eventually experience decay or decomposition. Now, what would this tell us? Since death is impending, it is like as if our life is a race towards death. But it is a race that you don't want to reach such a goal to. So the goal of that race is death, but of course, based on the picture that you have, we don't want to reach that goal. But then it is sure to come, and so we have to prepare. But when we are preparing, I want you to bear this in mind. Ask yourself, how do I want myself to be remembered? Well, it is you who can do that. It is your choice. Your actions would define who you are later on when we die. And so, if you are able to do this, you will never have to worry about dying. Now, let's move on to the next subject, religion on death. With the help of Sir Ryan, your teacher in Introduction to World Religion and Belief System. Let's listen to what he is going to say. But, first and foremost, answer this question. How do we call the first 5 books of the Bible? 5 seconds. Starts now. Comment your answers. There you go. What's the answer? Pentateuch. Very good. Now, let's listen to what Sir Ryan has to say. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
I believe you're the teacher in the Introduction to World Religion and Belief System. Now, would you like to tell me, what does Judeo-Christian religion or tradition tell us about death?
Okay, according to his word on the book of Genesis 3:19, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return.
Does this mean that we are meaningless? Since we are dust, in mother tongue we are dabok, and from dabok you shall return?
Of course, no. Because we find meaning through Christ, who gives meaning to our lives.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So there you go. What have we learned so far with what Sir Ryan had said? There is consolation in death. And that is through religion and spirituality. Through religion and spirituality, we find meaning. And of course, through religion and spirituality, we find hope for something greater than this life. Sounds good. Now let's move on to the next. What does math tell us about death? With the help of Sir Jonathan Quirante, your teacher in statistics and probability. Oh, I have a question. I almost forgot. What is the practice of science of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities, especially for the purpose of inferring proportions in a whole from those in a representative sample. 5 seconds. Comment your answers. I'll be checking it later. Answer? Very good. Statistics. Now, let's listen.
Sir, I know that aside from being a nurse, you are also the teacher of our students in statistics and probability. As of 2021, what is the average lifespan of Filipinos?
So far, according to the global statistics, in the Philippines, we have 71.41% average death of Filipino individuals.
So if our students now are 19 years old in senior high school, so roughly, how long else would they live?
Approximately about 51 years old.
51 years old. Okay, thank you, sir, for your time. Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
Yeah, happy Valentine's, Sir Jonathan. Now, what have we learned from Sir Jonathan? He said that life is short and death only comes once. That is something that we can infer from statistics. Now, if life is short and death only comes once, don't waste it. Stop doing insignificant things. Instead, do something worthwhile with your family and your friends. Until time is over. Now, let's talk about history and death with the help of Teacher Lester, your teacher in disciplines and ideas in social science. And of course, before that, I have a question. Who is the founder of La Solidaridad? Everyone knows this, I know. Comment. I will be waiting. Answer? Of course, Jose Rizal. Now, here is the video.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi. Hello, Sir Chris. Good morning.
Yeah. So I know that you are the social science teacher of our grade 12 students. Now, I would just want to ask about history, in particular about Jose Rizal. When was he born and when did he die?
Jose Rizal was born in Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861, and he was executed at the Bagumbayan, now called as Luneta Park, on December 30, 1896.
So he died at what age?
He died at a very young age of 35.
Whoa, that's too young. But then, when he died young, what is the significance of Jose Rizal's death?
Though he died young at 35, the death of Jose Rizal made a significant difference in the Philippines. His death ignited Filipino nationalism and
Yes.
provoked the Filipinos to fight for their independence against the Spanish colonization.
Okay. That's good stuff, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
In death, our worth, our value is manifested. That is something that we can learn from the life of Rizal. And so, we need to cultivate ourselves. We need to do something that leaves a huge impact on the lives of others. You can achieve immortality in their minds and in their hearts. We can be immortal after all. Now, after watching the videos and giving you a little information and explanation about them, I want you to do this. Just write your answers in the comment section. I will be checking them later on. The first one is state the concept of death as shown on the video. And then, explain the nature of life that you have realized after listening to your subject teacher's concept of death. And then the third one, what misconception or even misconceptions about death have you realized to be wrong? Perhaps there is something new that you have learned from these videos. Now, to sum up, that leaves us a lesson about life and how we can achieve our true meaning. And that leads us to the second objective, and that is discuss man's search for meaning of life in relation to the concept of death by various philosophers. This is going to be somehow exciting because this time we are going to delve deeper into the concepts that philosophy is actually telling us. So if you're ready, let's begin. Let's talk about Oriental philosophy, beginning with the philosopher and founder of Buddhism by the name of Siddhartha Gautama. What would he say about the meaning of existence? First and foremost, he says that there is this concept of anicca. And what is anicca? It means impermanence. Nothing is permanent in this world. That's why we should not cling to these worldly things, because nothing is permanent, including life. Because eventually, these would all be gone. Danger is, if you cling too much to this, it would actually lead to pain. This is the same with what the philosopher, the Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, that there is only one thing in this world that is permanent, and that is change. And so if you cling too much to what you have right now, chances are you're going to experience dukkha. Dukkha, which means suffering. If you cling so much to worldly things, and then, let's just say, for example, well, by the way, I just bought a new cell phone. If I cling too much to this new cell phone that I have, and then bigla siya nawala, well, it brings me pain. It brings me suffering. And so avoid clinging so much to worldly things, including your boyfriend. Don't be clingy because, well, baka hindi rin kayo tumagal. Malay mo, masaktan ka lang. Of course, if don't cling too much to worldly things, including worldly stuffs, including your own life, because it can give you suffering. Instead, just do the middle way, according to Siddhartha Gautama. What do you mean by middle way? It means to say, don't cling too much, don't cling too less. Just there in the middle. Tamang-tama lang. Chill lang. That is also the philosophy of Lao Tzu. In this philosophy of Wu Wei, you just have to go with the flow of nature. Okay? Live a simple life until you experience tanha, which is death. If you are able to do this, you can experience satisfaction in this life, even if there is the phenomenon which is called suffering. And eventually, it would lead to the eventual demise of our bodies, but then we can experience nirvana, which is the experience, or actually the reality of experiencing pure bliss. Okay, it's equivalent to heaven. Okay, it's equivalent to eternal happiness. Okay, but this time it's quite different. Nirvana is pure bliss. So that is what Oriental philosophy tells us. Nothing is permanent, including life. Life is simple, or live a life which is simple, and you will find true contentment and satisfaction. After all, we cannot bring material things with us when we die. Look at the picture. I hope it tells us everything about this. Now, let's have an activity before we move on. Activity 1. Wow, that's Lao Tzu. I call this pushcart experience. Now, all you have to do is to rank the things that you need the most, from the things that you need the most and to the things that you need the less. Now, this is what we do when we go to the grocery store. Diba? Sinusulat, nililista natin kung anong kailangan natin. We begin with what we need first, and then we put the least that we need at the latter part of our list. Why? Just in case you already have no money, at least you can do away with buying those things. Now, let us help. Okay? If you really understand the concept of Oriental philosophy on how to lead a life that is simple. Okay? Now, let us help Lao Tzu as he goes to the grocery store in choosing the items that he has to buy. Now, you are going to do this also. You're going to list down, okay, the items that you really need. And you have to comment your answer. You rank it from 1 to the last. Okay, I'll be waiting for that. Now, here are the items. Now, in this grocery store, we can find a lot of items. Now, here comes Lao Tzu. Well, Lao Tzu have chosen these items from the first to the last. But of course, you can have other items. You can rank it differently. Okay? But I just helped Lao Tzu, and this is how he did it. The first one, well, he chose the TV with Netflix. The next one, well, he chose soap. Another, a bottle of water. And then a flashlight. Sardines. A cute teddy bear. A bag of rice. And then a Ferrari. And then off he goes. Did you rank your items the same? I want to see it in your comments. And I'll be waiting for that until 12 midnight. Okay, now let's move on. Let's talk about existentialist philosophy, beginning with Martin Luther. It's not Martin Luther. What am I saying? Martin Heidegger. Martin Heidegger said that man is docile, a being towards death. Meaning to say, we are all going to die. We were born to die. Oh my God, we were born to die. Furthermore, what did he say about man? He said, being aware of his impending death, it may free him from swirl of distractions. Free him from swirl of distractions. If we know that we are going to die, we're not going to waste our life to something that is insignificant. They're just distractions. And then we are going to avoid the so-called crowd existence, on which we know that we are all going to die. Sabi nga ng aking kaibigang teacher, Sir Ryan, pag nahihirapan ako sa aking ginagawa sa school, huwag ka mag-alala, sir. Mamamatay din tayong lahat. Lagi niya sinasabi yun. But then, he said, don't listen to the crowd. Okay? Design the life that you want yourself to have. You have to understand, in the end, you are the one who is going to create who you are. You are the one who is going to create your own authentic human life. That is what Heidegger said. Now, to clarify things further, another philosopher under existentialist tradition, his name is Jean-Paul Sartre. I repeat, Jean-Paul Sartre. That is how you pronounce it. It's French. Hindi yan Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre. What did he say? Man's essence is freedom. Meaning to say, what creates us who we are is our freedom. What we are is a product of our freedom. Meaning, what we are is a product of our own choices. Kung sino ka, walang ibang dapat sisihin, kundi ikaw at ikaw lang. And so, man creates his own meaning. That is why it says here, push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. Chase your dreams. Nobody should dream for you. It's your own. It's your life. This is also true with another existentialist philosopher by the name of Soren Kierkegaard. He speaks about authentic existence. If we are to create our life in this earth, if we are the ones who create our own meaning in this life, we have to make sure that we are living an authentic existence. What do you mean by authentic existence? Authenticity is an idea mostly used in existentialism, which means having true and meaningful existence. And what do you mean by true and meaningful existence? Sabi dito, sometimes it's better to find our own direction. Because if you fail, nobody else would be blamed but you. According to Soren Kierkegaard, we have to avoid the crowd, the majority of society, which we think that should be the pattern of our lives. We have to choose our own decisions in life, no matter how painful it is. We see people marrying, therefore we have to marry also. But authenticity is not like that. We have to freely choose marrying. The intention to marry should not come from the crowd, as we usually hear, but it should come from our deliberate choice. Another reason why we fail to lead an authentic life is fear. Just because we are afraid of possible consequences that might say we fail to pursue that we truly want in life, the challenges. Look at the picture. There are a lot of challenges in achieving one's authentic life. But however, the challenge of authenticity is one of the most important messages of death. As we accept death, we realize the value of having true life, an authentic life. An authentic life, no matter how many the challenges are, what is important is you have set your goal. This is what I want myself to be. I create my own meaning. I create the person that I am and I would be. Who am I? What is my definition? Well, I cannot define it now, but the definition of who I am can only be realized when we are already dead. And so if they look at you in the coffin, okay, they would say, babaero to. Magnanakaw to. Basagulero to. Sugarol to. Why can they say that? It is because you can no longer change. You're already dead. And so your definition is final. But right now, as you are still alive, nobody can judge you. Nobody can say that you are babaero, you are magnanakaw, you are basagulero, you are whatever. Why? Because you can still change. You can still do something to change your life and create your own meaning until you die. So be careful on your choices. Now, let's do this activity, and you can do this at home. You call it Authenticity Project. List down 3 things that you really and truly want in life. The challenges you see in pursuing your goal and the possible solutions to these challenges. Now you have the table there as your guide. Okay? Now, to sum it up, finally, life is a process of creating the meaning of oneself. Okay? So, we are in the process of creating who we are, and death is simply the end of that process. But make sure that you are leading an authentic life, which is the life that one chooses to live that leads to happiness and eventually contentment. With that, I guess you're ready to apply what you have learned. Don't worry, you're not going to do this at this moment, because you're going to do a reflection, okay, on your learnings about death and man's quest for meaning. The title of your reflection paper, which is a philosophical one, My Reflections and Insights about Death. Now here is the rubric for that essay. Now, I'm going to somehow post this in the comment section. You just wait for it. And for my students there, I'm just going to send this in our GC. You wait for it. Okay. Now, as a form of assignment also, this time it is a differentiated group activity. Now, you can do this virtually, or since there is already limited face-to-face, I guess we can do this. And what is this? What is the differentiated group activity that you are going to do? You are going to apply your learnings on concepts of death and the quest for authentic existence in a creative manner. Now, visual artists will do poster slogan about death and human existence. Musicians will perform a jingle. All of this will be done via film. Okay? Dancers will do an interpretative dance of a song fitting to our theme. Actors will do a short skit, and for online students, they are going to do a collage showing concepts of death and authentic human existence. If you have questions about this one, you can just send me a message. Of course, you know it. Or you just can ask me in our GC. Okay, now, here would be the rubrics for that. I am going to show it also. I'm going to send it also in our comment section, and I'm going to send it in our group chat. So, if you have questions about the rubrics, you can always contact me. Of course, you know where to go. You know where I am. I'm not hiding. I'm always present. And so, assessment time. Okay, all you have to do is to identify true or false. And then if it is false, you give your explanation. But let's just you have to go through it. And then you just simply write true or false in the comment section. Number one, death is one of the surest things in the world. True or false? Death comes at the time we expect it will come. True or false? We can always say that there is still time. True or false? Though we do not know when we will die, we can prepare for it. Number 5, immortality can be achieved by man. Number 6, we can always design how we will die. 7, following the society would mean good existence. Number 8, we waste our lives by living the life we don't want. Number 9, death is impending. And number 10, two persons can totally share same experience of death. I hope that you are already answering these questions. So that's it. I would like to leave you with this statement. Death is not the end of everything, but merely a passageway to real life. So that's it. This is your teacher Tofi once again telling you, I may not be good looking, but definitely I am looking good. Stay safe, everyone. Wear your face mask, wash your hands, do the social distancing. See you on our next episode of Philosophy Made Easy with me, Teacher Tofi, at your service. Bye.
Good day, Philippines. Hello, Region 1. Aloha, San Carlinian learners. Airing live from the mango bamboo capital of the Philippines, San Carlos City. You're tuning in to CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every SDO-SEC learner, where passion is the key. Learning paves the way. With our division mantra, developing creativity, maximizing versatility. This is your CCN Broadcast Center. CCN Broadcast Center, a virtual home of every STO SEC learner.